everybody, and welcome to the brand new podcast, Where There Is a Will, There Is a Burnden Way, hosted by yours truly, Will Jones. So, welcome to the first episode. This will only be a few minutes, fear not, I won't be taking up too much of your time just yet. It's essentially just a brief introduction to the podcast itself, and to me, for those who aren't familiar. So in terms of what you can expect, I'll be waffling away on the primary subjects of my beloved, and I assume the listeners' beloved, Bolton Wanderers. If you're not a Bolton fan, this podcast may not be for you, but do stick around just in case anyway. I might even be able to convert you, you never know. Before I get sidetracked, these weekly episodes will be for anywhere between about half an hour and an hour. The length will vary based on just the necessity for me to rabbit on generally, but mainly in terms of how many relevant topics I'm able to cover from the preceding week. So this will mainly be a one-man podcast, though from time to time, depending on kind of both demand and availability really, I will be inviting and hopefully having on guests which I feel may be most relevant both in my eyes and hopefully in yours, the listeners too. I'll also be regularly fielding the opportunity for brands or even individuals to sponsor each episode, or even the podcast itself if you're feeling generous enough, in return for advertisements or whatever it is you may wish to promote, as long as it's mildly sensible of course. But yeah, I'll be mainly hoping to upload these every week, as close to about 6 PM on a Sunday, technology prevailing of course, on all the podcast platforms you can possibly think of, though don't hold me to that. This is a homemade and very much a startup project, despite my last involvements with various larger projects, so please bear with me. Any support with kind of audio, editing, graphics, you name it, I'm open to help, so please do get in touch if you feel as if you could improve it, or kind of want to be a permanent member of the team, as I look to grow and expand the podcast over time. In terms of a personal brief then, as stated, I'm Will Jones. I'm a lifelong Bolton Wanderers supporter, 21-year-old from the heart of the Ribble Valley in Lancashire. I'm a sports media postgraduate from the University of Chichester. You may know me most prominently from being, for example, a board member at the Bolton Wanderers Sports Trust, a former presenter and senior writer for the Line of Vienna Suite, possibly even from Longridge Town, where I'm currently media officer, 9th tier of English football there, covering all things Ridge day to day and at every game. I'm sure it's not the last you'll hear of that either. You might also know me from various sports news programmes, Sky Sports, BBC, ITV, TalkSport, Radio Manchester, and the YouTube channels of both Thogden and Stumpeg. You name it really, I could go on, but there's I'm sure there'll be reasons for which I know a lot of you will know me for. Obviously the protests against Ken Anderson back in January 2019, gosh that's almost 2 years ago now, and the subsequent off the field developments at Bolton following that. You may also know me or not at all, on the off chance that you randomly stumble across this podcast, in which case hello, welcome. Please do stick around. I'm sure you'll get to know me when the podcast properly starts. Whilst there won't be a fixed segment running order necessarily, I'll try to keep it as similar as I can each week, though I am prone to going off on various tangents, and we'll cover a range of topics relating to either myself or Bolton, or perhaps even current affairs if I feel it's relevant enough, or if it's worth covering perhaps. But in doing so I will need your help. So please do get in touch with me however you possibly can. I am on pretty much every social media platform going, predominantly Twitter I think for most of you, WIL1J on there. Facebook is just Will Jones, Insta is WI1L, that's Instagram, or even TikTok if you're that way inclined, it's WIL1J on there, and just whatever else you can think of really, or via the podcast accounts themselves, which is at WTAWTABW. That's everywhere, just to let me know what you want to hear really, and any feedback you may have. For example, I can cover the games each week, my board role at the Trust and what that consists of, my time at Line of Vienna, why I left there, my current role at Longridge and what's going on there, or even just something completely different, just whatever your heart desires really. I'm happy to keep it open to interaction really. That's the idea anyway. So please do not hesitate to get in touch. Support the podcast however you can as I get it off the ground, by following, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, rating, everything you can think of. And I'll be back next week hopefully if everyone likes the sound of what they hear. Fingers crossed on Sunday the 17th of January at around 6 o'clock. So thank you very much everyone for listening to the first episode of Where There's a Will, There's a Burnden Way, and I will catch you next week.